Have you ever heard of NASA? They've put humans on the moon and rovers on Mars, but what if I told you that just last year, one of their most secure systems got hacked by a teenager? That's right. He single-handedly breached NASA's computer network and stole over 24 gigabytes of data. But he wasn't trying to steal anything. In fact, he actually helped them, and now he's working for them. It all started with a 17-year-old boy named Alex. He's been interested in computers ever since he was a child and spent much of his free time learning about technology. And because of this, he had a pretty good idea of how different computer systems work. So when he heard that the National Aeronautics and Space Administration had a reputation of being one of the most secure organizations on Earth, he couldn't help but wonder if it was actually true. So one night while browsing the internet, he came across a website that claimed to have a vulnerability in NASA's system. The website said that for some reason there were two separate login portals to access one account, and as long as one of the passwords matched, it would grant access to the entire system. Now, this didn't make any sense to Alex. How could such a secure organization have something so simple? Was this really a bug, or was it just someone trying to get attention? Well, the only way to find out was to try it for himself. He began by creating multiple fake accounts until one of them was accepted. Then he tried logging in using random passwords. To his surprise, it worked, but that still didn't tell him whether there was a bug or not. All it showed was that he needed to come up with a more sophisticated strategy. So after thinking about it for a bit, he decided to try brute forcing their system. This is where you try every possible combination until you get the right answer. It's very unlikely that it would work, but it was worth a shot. And sure enough, as soon as he typed in the last few characters of the password, the door opened. He couldn't believe it. He had just hacked NASA. But even though he was excited, he knew that he shouldn't have done it in the first place. Not only did he just violate their security system, but he also gained access to some very sensitive information. Now he could have used this to his advantage and no one would have known. He could have sold the information to the highest bidder or posted it online for everyone to see. But none of these options seemed right. Even though he was just a teenager, he knew that what he had done was wrong. So against his own self-interest, he decided to do the right thing. But before he could think about how to do that, he got a phone call. On the other end was a woman who introduced herself as an official from NASA. She explained to Alex that they had traced the hack back to him and wanted to know why he had done it. At first, Alex hesitated, but then he confessed everything. He told her how he stumbled upon the website, how he tried to test the system, and eventually, how he gained access to it. The woman on the other end was silent for a moment. Alex thought he had done it. His worst nightmare had finally come true. They were going to arrest him, but that never happened. Instead, the woman offered him a scholarship and a job at the company. She explained that even though what he had done was technically illegal, she believed that his intentions were pure. Not only that, but they could also use his skills. At first, Alex was taken aback. He never expected them to offer him a job. He thought he was going to be arrested for sure. But he quickly accepted the offer. He was given a polygraph test to ensure that he wasn't working for any other organizations. And then they asked him to sign a non-disclosure agreement. After that, he was brought into a room full of people. They all introduced themselves as part of NASA's cybersecurity department. Alex was then given a crash course on how their systems worked and what his role would be. Basically, he was hired to find bugs in their systems. Before he knew it, he was leading a team of experienced professionals. They would work together to ensure that the systems were safe from hackers. And after a few months, they were able to fix the problem. The news of the hack quickly spread throughout the industry, and it became one of the most famous cybersecurity stories of the year. But despite all the attention, Alex remained humble. He knew that it was only because of his passion for computers that he was able to find the bug in the first place. If he hadn't been interested in hacking and cybersecurity, He probably wouldn't have even noticed it. But once he did, he could have exploited the system and made millions. But even though he could have done that, he chose to do the right thing. And because of that, he was rewarded with a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Today, Alex works for some of the country's top space missions. He travels around the world to meet with other experts and is constantly learning new things. He's even given talks at major conferences and has been interviewed by the media. And when you look at his story, there are a few lessons that stand out. First, it shows that anyone can become a hacker. You don't need to be a genius or have a degree in computer science. You just need to be interested in it. Second, it shows that hacking isn't always bad. In fact, it can be very helpful. By finding bugs in the system, Alex saved NASA from potential disaster. Third, it shows that it's important to do the right thing. Even though Alex could have gotten away with what he did, he chose not to. And because of that, he ended up in a better position than he would have ever imagined. Finally, it shows that you should never give up on your dreams. Alex was just a teenager when he hacked NASA, but he never let that stop him. He followed his passion and eventually became one of the best in the industry. So if you're interested in hacking or cybersecurity, don't be afraid to follow your passion. You never know where it might take you. Speaking of following your passions, I want to share my story with you. I'm the host of this channel. When I was a kid, I struggled with severe shyness and social anxiety. I couldn't even look people in the eyes when I talked to them, and my dream of becoming a successful entrepreneur seemed impossible. But I refused to give up. I followed my passion for helping others and learned everything I could about human behavior and psychology. Eventually, I became a professional coach, and now I run a multi-million-dollar business. And when I look back at my journey, there are a few things that stand out. First, it shows that anyone can become successful. You don't need to be born into a wealthy family or have a famous last name. You just need to have the desire to succeed and be willing to work hard. Second, it shows that you shouldn't let others bring you down. There were plenty of people who doubted me along the way, but I refused to listen to them. I knew that I could achieve my dreams, and I was determined to prove them wrong. Third, it shows that it's important to never give up. There were times when I wanted to quit and give up on my dreams, but I never did. I kept going even when things were tough because I knew that success was worth it. Finally, it shows that you should always follow your passion. I'm so grateful that I followed my passion for helping others because it led me to where I am today. So if you have a passion that you want to pursue, don't be afraid to go for it. You never know where it might take you. I hope that inspires you to pursue your own dreams and never give up. Thank you for watching this video, and I wish you all the best in your future endeavors.